And Son, the Lord Spirit, Amen. Welcome, everyone. As you know, last week we started reading chapter 22 in the book of wisdom, Sirach, and there was a lot of the verses or wisdom about friendship. And we thought, since it's an important topic and it's covered a lot here, that's why we're talking about friendship. And we started talking last week. If we can read it first so we can understand what the book is talking about, friendship, and then I'll tell you a quick summary of some of the points we said last week, and then we'll start this week. So can someone read for us from verse 25 until the end of the chapter? Any volunteers? You want to read it? Anyone? Any volunteers? You know? Any volunteers? In the name of the Father and Son and the Holy Spirit. Amen. So this is chapter 22 in the book Wisdom of Sirach.
He who throws a stone at birds will drive them away. So also he who accuses his friend dissolves the friendship. But if you have drawn a sword against a friend, you should not despair, for there may be a way back. If you have opened a harsh mouth against a friend, you should not fear, for there may be a reconciliation. However, if there are accusations or abuse or arrogance or the revealing of secrets or a wound from deceitfulness, in all these cases a friend will flee away. Hold to faithfulness with a friend in his poverty, so that you may also rejoice in his prosperity. In the time of his tribulation, remain faithful to him, so that you may also be an heir with him in his inheritance. Just as the steam from an oven or the smoke from a fire rises up before a flame, so also do curses and insults and threats rise up before bloodshed. I shall not be ashamed to greet a friend, nor shall I hide myself from his face. And if misfortunes befall me because of him, I will endure. Anyone who hears of this will be worry around him. Who will provide a keeper for my mouth and a reliable seal over my lips, so that I may not fall because of them, and so that my tongue does not destroy me?
Thank you. So that's the end of chapter 22. So if you notice, there's, as we said earlier, there's a lot of verses about friendship and about good friends, and about how you can lose your friends, and the things that will affect friendship. And that's why last week we thought it's an important topic to focus on as part of the theme, the main theme of this chapter. And if you remember last week, just quickly in a few minutes, we started talking about the friends, the type of friends. There's different circles of friends. We have the casual friends, the close friends, and the core friends, the very, very close people to you. And we said that friends have a big influence on you. That's why we need to choose our friends carefully, because the closer the friends, the more influence they have on you. So we started by talking about some things or types of friends types of people that you should not become your friends. So the type of people that they shouldn't be your friends, people to stay away from as friends or not to choose as friends. We talked about 6 different types of people. Can you remember? Who was here last week? Can you remember? We said 6 different types of people you should stay away, and sort of not choose them as your friends. And we went through detail with Bible verses. I'm not going to repeat that. That was the whole hour last week. So I'm just saying, at least naming the 6. People who... Can anyone remember anything out of the 6 last week? Yes, for sure. Very good. That was the first point. Excellent. Good memory. I had to look it up myself. People who start arguments. People who they want to argue for the sake of arguing. And we know many people fit that category. People that just argue about anything and they just want to start an argument. They feel good about arguing. Maybe they have insecurity. They just want to argue to prove a point, whatever it is. So we're talking about these people, not to ignore them as though, not deal with them. But we're talking about these people, don't choose them as your friends. Because these people will influence you. These people will affect you and you'll become like them, okay? So that's the context that we're talking about. That people, if you become friends with them, you become like them, and we don't want that to happen. So stay away from, because we in Proverbs talk about a fool can start arguments at any time, okay? So obviously we stay away from foolish people because they start arguments. Second point. Sorry? Very good. People flattery. People say flattery, and we said last week, excellent, very good. People usually flatter. They talk behind your back, and then they come and sort of say beautiful things in front of you. If you're working, if you're studying, if you do whatever thing, many people like that. They'll come and flatter the boss and say beautiful things to the boss in his face, but behind his back, they'll come and talk bad about them behind their back, okay? So stay away from this. Don't make these people your friends. Excellent, very good. Any other points? There's 4 more. Very good. And you're right as well, so remember that. Angry people, okay? People who quick-tempered, and as I said, I'm not going to repeat what I said yesterday because all these biblical verses, stay away from people who are quick to anger because you'll be like them and become angry, okay? So, and there's all these problems with anger, of course. We discussed last week. Excellent. 3. Number 4, gossipers. Excellent. People who gossip. Again, for the same reason. You find these people talk and they gossip, and we said it's a horrible sin, gossiping, and I'm sure you can, find many verses about gossip. 2 more. Thieves, very good. You've got good memory. Did you write the notes? Where's your notes? Checking something, Chris. Where's the notes, Marina? He's hiding them. It's good. People who steal, people who shoplift or steal. Excellent. Okay? Which we said last week sounded a bit strange, but you find that actually has a big influence on people and horrible consequences we associate with someone like that. Even small things, and we actually talked about Bible verses about that. Okay? Last one, number 6. Last one. Then we're going to start into the new topic. Drunkards? Yeah, but that wasn't one of the things we talked about last week. Impure, very good. Believers who sin sexually, okay? That's why we said last week, believers who sin sexually. And we talked about why believers, because St. Paul said, I'm not asking you to stay away from everyone in the world, because obviously they don't understand, but I'm talking about believers, people who proclaim themselves to be Christians, and they're acting like they are Christians, but that they are sinning sexually because they provide a wrong model or the bad example for Christianity, and they sort of think if they come to church on Sunday, then they can do whatever they want during the weekday. That's fine. That's acceptable. That's not acceptable. This type of people, if it become your friends, you'll be like them. You'll be two-faced. You'll think you're a Christian on one day, and then the rest of the week you're doing whatever you want. Okay, so these people are not. They're actually a very bad example for Christianity, and they bring bad name to Christianity. So that's what we discussed last week. Okay, so last week was basically about the things don't do or don't be friends with this type of people. But today we want to concentrate on the core friends. So the very, very, the very close circle of people that you're going to choose as your core friends. The people that you're going to spend the most time with, the people that are going to have the most influence on you. Therefore, you have to choose them carefully. But how do you choose them? How do you decide who are going to be my core friends? The people who are going to be my close circle of friends. There's many qualities to look for in this type of friend. Who's going to be my core friend? You only have a handful of them. If you have more than a handful of core friends, then you actually went into the other circle, which is, the close friends or the bigger circle. Okay, so obviously, if you talk about here, they're very, very close friends to you, just very, very few people. That's only a very small circle of friends. So there's many qualities to look for in a core friend or close friend. But from the Bible sort of puts or stresses or emphasizes on 3 main qualities to look for in your core friends. If I tell you at the beginning, they may sound like very trivial, and it's not really, you think, is that it? Like, I'm sure I thought there was much more than that, or better qualities. There are many qualities. There are many qualities to look for. But we looking here at the ones that the Bible focuses on, and sort of we want to focus on them. And I'm going to tell you more points later on as well. But we want to start with these 3 ones because they're very important. They make a huge difference about your friends, and you'll see what I'm talking about. The first one, let me get it here. The first quality of a close friend is, or someone I should choose friends who encourage me spiritually. You choose friends who encourage you spiritually. What do we mean by that? Okay, let's read a verse. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. Okay, so for every point that or quality we're gonna look at, we're gonna get a Bible verse to see what the Bible says about that. So the first one, 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 11, please. Okay, it's very basic, it's easy. Therefore, comfort each other and edify one another, just as you're also doing. So what does it mean? In plain language, saying encourage each other and build each other up. Okay, edify, so encourage and build each other up. This is the type of friend that you should be looking for. Someone who will encourage you and build you up. This verse isn't talking about compliments. There's a big difference between someone who offers you compliments and someone who encourages you. Because when we talk about encouragement, it's much deeper than a compliment. Someone might compliment saying, your dress looks beautiful today, or I like your haircut. That's a compliment. That's not deep enough. Encouragement is something deeper than that. It's something, if you want to define encouragement, you can say when you give someone confidence or support or help, when you give them hope. That's encouragement, not just a mere compliment or saying something something nice to them. It's something that will fill their heart. And you know what I'm talking about. Some people you talk to, and they're saying good stuff and good things to you, and it's fine. But there's a different type of friend where that friend, when you meet him or her, they fill your heart up. You feel like you're much better. You feel much better. You feel more confident, more encouraged, more supported. You want to enjoy that time, and you feel that person fills you up. Okay, and you walk away feeling much better than you meet them. This is the type of encouragement that we're talking about. Someone who supports you, someone who really, really they're not just giving a compliment, but someone who genuinely wants to encourage you and support you and build you up. Okay, I'm going to go quickly because there's many points to cover other than the 3 points. I'm going to quickly, but anytime you can please stop me and ask questions. Okay. Second quality. If you get to Proverbs 17:17, second quality of a friend, to choose friends who consistently support me emotionally. Okay. So first one we'll talk about spiritually. This time, someone who constantly supports me emotionally. Proverbs 17:17 says this. 17. Proverbs 17:17. A friend loves at all times. A friend loves at all times. And this is the key word here. Loves all the time. A friend who loves all the time. Why is this important? Because that's when you know that person is a true friend. A true friend, when you're going through a difficult time, this is usually what happens. When you're going through a difficult time, a true friend is the one that walks in your life when everyone is walking out. A true friend is someone that really, really stays with you during difficult time. Someone who loves you all the time. Doesn't just be close to you when everything's going fine and they want to have fun together and go out to spend good time. But when things are getting tough for you, you find them You can't find them anymore. They disappear. They move on to someone who's, they can have fun with. But usually you find that a true friend is someone who walks in your life when everyone else walks out when you're going through a difficult time. It's that type of friend that he will come and say, I'm here with you. Not here for you. It's a big difference when someone says, I'm here with you, versus to someone who says, I'm here for you. Because someone says, I'm here for you. If you need any help, let me know. That actually puts the burden on you to reach out to them. But someone is saying, I'm here with you. Okay, I'm here with you. I feel for you. I'm joining whatever you're going through. I'm here with you. I'm sitting next to you. I'm supporting you. Someone who is walking the journey with you. Someone who's going to be proactive and supporting you practically, And I usually, as a priest, I see that very common or very obvious during, for example, when someone passes away and during funerals and sad times like that, you'll see many people come and go and say their condolences and if you need anything, let me know, and, what can I do for you, and things like that. That's nice. They come and do their part and they leave. But you see, the core friends are staying with the person for a long time. They're supporting them throughout the whole way. Not just for the funeral and all that, but afterwards, they're always with them. They're checking up on them. They're with them. And they offer practical help, okay? It's not just talk, it's practical help. They're being proactive with them, and they support them. Someone who's always there for them, someone they can rely on. And someone who are always listening to them, because when someone's going through a difficult time, you need a friend who listens more than talk. Everyone, during difficult time, everyone's quick to become a teacher, and everyone wants to say sermons, and everyone wants to advise. But the true friend is someone who listens more and talks less during these difficult times. We see this, a good example from the Bible, the story of Job, when he's going through a difficult time and all his friends came and they're just talking and giving him advice and telling him, there's something wrong with you, maybe you've done something wrong. They're just going on and talking. And they made him feel much worse than before they started talking. So this is basically, to serve your friends practically, that's how to show them your love and to show them that, to do this verse, that a friend loves at all times. This is a key word. The next quality, which is, you'll find that very weird. Are you ready for it? So this is the type of friends you actually choose as your core friends. You choose a friend who challenges you to think. A friend who challenges you. Okay, let's read the verse, Proverbs 13:20. What do I mean by a friend who challenges you? Proverbs 13:20. He who walks with wise men will be wise, but the companion of fools will be destroyed. So you need someone who's wise and someone who'll challenge you to think. What do I mean by that? Normally, our normal instinct is what? I want my friends to be like me. I want my friends to agree with me all the time. I want my friend to not challenge what I do, but basically, whatever I'm doing, they agree with it, they're happy with it, and they just agree with me, basically, But the true friend is the one that should challenge you and should hold you accountable. Is that friend that they shouldn't agree with you all the time. If they see you do something wrong, they stop you and they challenge you and saying what you're doing is wrong. They hold you accountable. And they're not afraid to tell you what you're doing is wrong. What you're doing is wrong. I'm not happy with what you're doing. I don't agree with what you're doing. We need friends like that. But we find that we usually go for friends who will always agree with us, who will always accept us. Whatever we do, they'll just go along with it. This is actually wrong. And it's hard to accept that. It's hard to find friends like that because we always go for the other way, which is someone who agrees with me. That challenge by your friends is so important because that makes you a better person. A friend that challenges you, as I said, will hold you accountable and will make you a better person because they will, like for example, you'll see this. You'll see, for example, if you're close to a friend, you'll find that on the important things in life, could be, 2 or 3 things, important things in life, you agree. But many other things which are trivial things you don't agree with each other. That's fine, that's good, okay? Because what happens is you'll build each other up by challenging each other, by having that friend challenge you, you'll actually become a better person. That friend will add a layer of depth or richness to the friendship. They may have a different perspective about something else. They will tell you a different way of doing things. They'll say, why are you doing it this way? Do it this way. They'll say, I don't agree with this. How about this way? They may give you the experiences. They may point to something wrong that you're doing, so you fix it. So by having a friend like that, I'm not talking about someone who's, doing in a critical way or judgmental way or there to tell you I'm better than you. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about someone who's genuinely your friend and he wants you to be good. And that's why he or she are challenging you. And this is very important. It's very easy for us to surround ourselves with people who are like-minded, people who agree with us all the time. It's very easy. It's very easy. But these friends will never build you up. These friends will never, make you a good person. It's a much easier, it's the road of least resistance, as they say, But if you want really deep, rich, fulfilling friendship that builds you up, then choose people who will challenge you to think. And don't be upset if they tell you what you're doing is wrong and they try to correct you. This is the people that you should be choosing. As I said, it may be hard, and it's very hard for us to accept that because we want people to always agree with us. But if you really want true friendship, this is the friend that you should be looking for. Okay? Yes. Sure. Microphone. Where's the microphone?
So, what if like they're very like liberal and like the way they think, and like they'll sort of be suggesting something sinful, something against the church, or like very very untraditional, unorthodox,
You go to number 1. What do you say number 1? Remember, this is number 3. What do you say number 1? You choose a friend who will encourage and build you up spiritually. Remember the verse? So this is the qualities that you find in a friend. So obviously, you may find a friend that challenges you like that, but that friend is not building you up because he's telling you to do something wrong. Then obviously it doesn't tick the quality number 1. So it doesn't build you up spiritually. So obviously they have to have these qualities that we're talking about. So I'm not talking about someone who sort of, challenges the way you think in terms of, your values and beliefs and all that. Now I'm saying is someone who can actually disagree with you, okay? But they're doing that because they love you. They want to build you up, okay? It's like a parent who corrects their child. But we tend to always go for the friends who will always agree with us because it's easy. I don't want anyone to tell me that what I'm doing is wrong. I don't want any resistance of my action. I want someone to agree with me. So I will choose a friend. If I see my friend tell me, no, don't do this, I say, no, and then other friend tell me, no problems, don't worry about him, let's go have fun and go to that place. From the face, from the outside, it looks like that person is agreeing with you and will go with you to that place. But the true friend is the one tell you, no, don't go. That's the wrong place. No, don't do this. Okay? It will hurt. Sometimes we'll get upset from that friend, but know that that friend is actually good because he is actually cares about you. That friend actually will build you up and will make you a better person. Do you agree with me or disagree? Please. Disagree, say anything. I don't know. What are you thinking? Yes, Miriam.
What if you have someone who shows qualities of both someone you should stay away from and someone who you should choose a friend in? Because I've found that a lot, with a lot of different friends that I have, they're from just learning from last week and this week, that they actually show qualities of both. So how would you go about that?
Very good question. Then it's your role now as a good friend, which we're going to talk about later, that if you want to choose good friends, you have to be a good friend yourself, which we're going to cover next, is if you want to have good friends, you need to be a good friend yourself, okay? It's not selfish. It's not one way. So obviously that's your turn as a good friend. The qualities that we said about last week, the 6, bad friends to stay away with, we talk about people who are not repenting, people are consistently doing that, and they're not going to change. But if that friend of you is good, then your role as a friend is telling, well, I've noticed, that's why you need to exercise now. I've noticed that you stole this from the shop. That's wrong. You're going to get caught in front of God, in front of the government. I love you, I care about you. That's going to lead in the wrong way. You need to stop that. And if they listen to you and they stop and you refer them to a Abuna, for example, or someone who can help them, or if they're addicted to something, if you can help them and all that, and they change, perfect, beautiful. You've saved someone. But if that person say no, and they keep resisting that, and they think whatever they're doing is right, and they have no intention of changing, then keep away. You know what I mean? Because of course you're going to find, no one's perfect. You're going to find a mix. But I'm saying for you to be friends with them, you're going to be affected by that. But your role as a friend is when you see your friend doing something wrong, you direct them to be that one, challenge him. That's the one exactly we're talking about, is challenge him to fix him. If they're not prepared to be challenged or listen to you or sort of go against you, then thank you so much, you can't be a friend. Because now it's going to affect you. That person's going to drag you down instead of you drag them up. Put them up. Good questions. Thank you. Any other questions? Because I want to go and talk and look at the best model of true friendship in the Old Testament. I'm sure all of you know, when we talk about friendship, 2 people come to mind, especially in the Old Testament. Very close friends. Who are they? They're very close friends. Someone said, King David and Jonathan, okay? So can we read 1 Samuel chapter 23, please? Okay, so let's look at a friendship and let's analyze that relationship to see the qualities of the relationship. So it's something practical now. It's not just theory that we're talking about. It can actually happen in a real life situation in between friends. So 1 Samuel chapter 23 from verse 15, please. So, or maybe make it 14. From verse 14, can someone read from verse 14 to verse 18? Please. Okay, so this is describing just one situation in the life of King David and what Jonathan did, and we'll analyze, what happened to look at the model of the friendship. Okay, can someone read that for us, please? Do you know the background of what happened to King David? I'll just quickly a background. King David, he was ordained as a king while King Saul was still a king. So because King Saul started good, but he became bad, did not obey God, he was bad, so God said, I don't want him anymore. God rejected Saul as a king, and he sent Samuel to anoint King David to become the king. So King David was a king, but he wasn't actually a king. He was running away from King Saul because King Saul wanted to kill him. Okay, he was so envious of him. King Saul wanted to kill David. So he was chasing him everywhere for years and years, trying to kill him. But then we have Jonathan, is the son of King Saul. So Jonathan, David's friend, is the son of the king. Okay? Can you see, understand the dynamics now? So Saul, the father of Jonathan, is chasing David everywhere, trying to kill him. And then his own son, is actually best friends with his dad's enemy. Can you see that? So part of that process, one of the time when King Saul was running after David, this is what happened. So can you read that?
David stayed in strongholds in the wilderness and remained in the mountains in the wilderness of Ziph. Saul sought him every day, but God did not deliver him into his hand. So David saw that Saul had come out to seek his life, and David was in the wilderness of Ziph in a forest. Then Jonathan, Saul's son, arose and went to David in the woods and strengthened his hand in God. And he said to him, "Do not fear, for the hand of Saul, my father, shall not find you. You shall be king over Israel, and I shall be next to you. Even my father Saul knows that." So the two of them made a covenant before the Lord. And David stayed in the woods, and Jonathan went to his own house.
Thank you. Okay, so if you go back to verse 14, from verse 14, so I just want to pick 3 points to highlight the true friendship here. Okay, what do you think happened? Okay, so David went to the wilderness in the woods. Why? Because King Saul sought him every day. Okay, he wants to kill him. So he was hiding, he was escaping. Okay, what did Jonathan do? What did Jonathan do? Come on, guys, read. He went to him. Exactly, simple. It's not a tricky question. What did Jonathan do? He actually rose. It says he arose and went to David in the woods. Okay? Yeah, what's the big deal? It's a huge deal. Well, what's the big deal about that? What do you think?
He went to his father's enemy into the woods.
Yeah.
He went to him. So that's the deal, I'd say.
He put his life in danger. Okay? So you don't go to these places. This is like a hiding places. You don't, as a son of a king, you don't go to these places. You don't risk it and take a risk and risk your life and go to these places. Not just that, he was going to his dad's enemy. Okay? And Saul was crazy. He could have done anything. Could have killed Jonathan himself. Okay? So he actually, the first thing that Jonathan did is he arose, put his life in danger, and went to David. Okay? Some friends, in your day of trouble, so this was a day of trouble, obviously, for King David. He wasn't running away, so obviously it was a difficult time for David. So a true friend will come to you in the day of trouble. Not all friends will come to you in the day of trouble. Some friends, they will leave you. They will stay with you when everything is going fine. But once you come to a day of trouble and be in the wilderness, they're going to desert, they're going to leave you. They're going to forsake you. Okay? So the first point, that a good friend will come to you in your day of trouble. Okay? Second point. Some friends might come to you in your day of trouble, but then they useless. They don't help in any way. They'll say, okay, I'm here, but they don't do anything. They don't help. They don't encourage in any way. But what did Jonathan do here? He came, and what did he do? And strengthened his hand in God. That's encouragement. Remember, we talk about friends who encourage you, who support you. Remember we said that? So he didn't just, he risked his life. He came to him. He didn't say, okay, when he comes out of the wood, I'll come and support him. And when I see him next, I'll tell him some good word. No. He went out of his way to him. And didn't just go to him, but he went and strengthened his hand in God. See, in God. See, that's a spiritual friend that we're talking about. Someone who builds me up spiritually. Okay? It's not just emotionally, but encourages me and links me to God. He links him to God. Okay? Look what he told him. He said to him, "Do not fear, for the hand of Saul, my father, shall not find you." You understand? It's very awkward. Okay? He's talking about his father. "Do not fear, for the hand of Saul, my father, shall not find you. You shall be king over Israel, and I shall be next to you. Even my father Saul knows that." Look how encouraging that is. Someone hiding in the wood like a criminal, and the son of the king comes saying, "Don't worry, God will be with you. You're going to be king over Israel, and even my dad knows that." Look at the strength, look at the support, look at the encouragement. He is a source of comfort and encouragement. I'm sure after he said that, he strengthened his hand in God. David felt much more stronger. But we want to take it to a next level, okay? So a true friend doesn't just come to you in time of trouble, doesn't just say encouraging things and support things and become a spiritual, strengthen you in God and connects you with God. But look at the next level. Did anyone pick anything in that verse? A bit awkward. Remember, Jonathan is the son of the king. He's telling a stranger, David is a stranger, you're going to be the next king. What's awkward about that? What's strange about that? What do you think? How does he know that? Very good. He says, so obviously there's confidence. He knows the will of God because he knows that God ordained David to be the king because he knows that his dad is not good. God rejected him. So obviously Jonathan has a very good relationship with God. He knows God's will. And that's why you see from the turn of his word this confidence. He said, do not fear, okay? My father will not find you. Why? Because he knows that God will protect him. So that's strength, that's power, that's faith from Jonathan. But beside that, put that aside now. Just, again, I'm giving hints here. The son of a king is telling a stranger, you're going to be the next king. What do you think about that? Exactly. So he's going against his father. What else? Yes. Exactly. Who's going to be the next king when Saul dies? Jonathan, his son. Guys, you understand how it works? When the king dies, the son will be the next king. So what's happening here? Jonathan is telling him, you're going to be the king instead of me. Can you see how powerful that is? So this is his place. Jonathan is the one that should be the next king, not David. David is a stranger from a different family. He's got nothing to do with Saul. But see how strong, how that friend, so he went to the next level. He wasn't envious of him. He didn't look at David as a threat to him. David was a threat to him. It wasn't best if Jonathan wasn't a spiritual person, if he didn't know the will of God that David should be a king, the first person that would have wanted to kill David is Jonathan. Yeah? Because he's going to take his place. Can you see what I'm talking about? But he actually, and the point I'm talking about here, there's many lessons we can learn about. I'm talking about the nature of the friendship. That friendship was a different level. That friendship went above and beyond. That friendship was not envious. Jonathan was not envious of his friend. A true friend should not be jealous of you, even if you are elevated and become higher or more successful than him. You get that? So a true friend should never be jealous of you, even if you become more successful than them, even if you're better than them in something. In this case, his friend is going to be the king, taking his own place. Can you see the quality of the friend? So it's taking to the next level. He's not getting jealous of him. He's not getting envious. How many friends can genuinely do what Jonathan did? That they can see you being promoted. They can see you getting that thing which they missed out on, and they still support you and love you and not be envious and jealous. And say it with confidence, don't worry, you'll be fine. And go out and support you. Even you may be taking their place, you may be taking that promotion, you may excel than them, you may whatever, be better than them in any way. See how strong that friendship, this is the true friendship that we're talking about. And that's why I wanted to share that with you, because it's so powerful what Jonathan did here. If you read it quickly, as we normally read the Bible, we think, yeah, you know what, so what? But if you stop and dissect it, you'll see that's not many people can do that. Back then, becoming a king, that's everyone's ultimate dream, you know. And it was automatically, you know, from one generation to another. For him to say that, that's a huge thing. And he said it with confidence as well. What do you think, guys? Yes, Amir. Of course, as I said earlier, it's actually less talking is better. Listening is better than talking. So if your friend is going through a difficult time, you be there with them, next to them. You don't have to talk. People think I have to go and what I'm going to say. You don't need to say anything. Your presence says much, much more than you giving advice or trying to comfort. You comfort them, you say a few words, but you don't feel obliged that you have to talk a lot. Listen more. Listen more than you speak. That's one of the things I described being a friend who supports you emotionally, is actually being a good listener, being proactive in listening rather than talking. So more listening, less talking, that's ideal. That's ideal. So, you know, sometimes as a priest as well, you know, when I'm going to someone, for example, someone passed away and we're going to comfort them in the home, I used to always think, so what I'm going to say. It's a very difficult situation, you know. What are you going to say? Especially when someone young passes away or like a sudden death, like it's a very difficult story. What are you going to say? I thought like I need to prepare and, no, by being with them, you know, a conversation will start or God will send you a verse you can talk about or something will happen. But, you know, you don't have to talk much. Just being with them, giving that support and comfort. That's much better than any other talk you can say. Yes.
Last year when we went to the monastery, we were actually talking about Job. Job lost everything, and I think his friends sat with him in silence after he lost everything. For how long was it? A week or a long time? Yeah, I was saying how. Job, he lost everything. So he lost his children, was it? His 10 children, his land, his everything he ever got. And then I think it was his 3 friends. They came and sat with him for, I don't know, a week or two. I can't remember the time frame. They sat with him in silence for a good week or so. I can't, if you want to correct me.
And that was the best time. Once they start talking, they made it worse.
Yeah, that's when all the problems happen. That's right. I remember.
Exactly. And he told them, you were very bad friends because you didn't make me. He actually told them at the end. Okay? So don't feel obliged that you have to talk much in difficult times. By being there, you know, with them, that's more important. That's more important. And Job is the best example. Okay. One thing, when we talk about friends and who should be my best friends, is this is something that you need to sort of always keep sort of reminding yourself of, my best friends should bring out the best in me. Okay, so always that's how to assess it. My best friends should always bring out the best in me. If your best friends are not bringing out the best in you, then that can't be your best friends. Then there's other people who should be your best friends. Okay? And this is very important to understand. That's why we call them best friends, because they should bring out the best in you. And this is through all the qualities that we said earlier about encouragement, about support, about, you know, challenging you, about all these things. But obviously, as we said earlier, it's a two-way thing. So if you want to have great friends, the qualities that we said, you know, I must be a great friend myself. Okay, so let's turn it and say, okay, so this is how I choose, you know, my friends. But then, how do I make friends? So now I'm going to choose friends, and we said earlier, but many people actually find it difficult to make friends. You know, many people say, okay, well, I don't have friends. How can I make friends? What do I need to do to actually have great friends? What do I need to do to actually build, and that's what we talk about, is actually build or establish strong friendships, have good friends. What do I need to do for my part? And on this topic, we're going to talk about 8 points. There's 8, consider them as 8 building blocks to actually make great friends. What do I need to do from my end to actually make friends? Because as we said earlier, remember last week when we started, we said there's a lot of the horrible statistics about loneliness and many people feel lonely is because friendship is so fulfilling. And we read quotes from many church saints like St. John Chrysostom says, I would rather the sun to hide its light, to be darkness, rather than lose my friends, not have friends. Because friends are so important in our lives. No one can live without friends. And the people, I talk about genuine friends. We can have many sort of acquaintances, but true friends are something different. So that's why it's important for us to understand the importance of friends. They're very important for us, as I said, to get the best out of you and to build you up spiritually and to be supportive. And there's many Bible verses that says, and from experiences, I saw that there are some friends who are much closer than your brothers or sisters to you. Okay, and the Bible even said that. So there's 8 points to make, what to do to make great friends. And each of them actually we need to talk about for long. So now it's 5 to 9. So I don't think I'm going to cover 8 building blocks in 5 minutes. So I don't know what to do. What do you think? Because I want to do it all together because the problem is the next 2 weeks, guys, we're going to have them off. So next week is Passion Week. So there's obviously no service. And the week after the resurrection, we don't have liturgies for the first few days and service. So we're going to be off for 2 weeks. So next time I'm going to see you will be in 3 weeks from now. So if I start with it now, you're going to forget by the next time. Yeah. So better to start fresh. After we can say all together, the 8 blocks of building or establishing great friendship. So it will make sense rather than talk about now and then 3 weeks later you hear some of them. Okay, so I think that's. So I'm happy to answer questions now on what we talked about so far, and then next time I'll start the 8 blocks to build strong friendships. So any questions so far about what we said last week or this week? Yes.
So I know last week we talked about friends to avoid. We focused more on friends.
Yes.
But what if they're not friends, they're family? Families.
Ooh,
and
that's a difficult one.
And like close families, you can't really avoid.
No, you can't really avoid. We're talking about close family. If there's some family you can avoid, like if you have sort of distant family, there's some people. When I say avoid, like you don't sort of cut ties with them. You can't cut ties with family, but you can minimize the interaction with them. And when you interact with them, you can interact on the things. Like for example, there's, as we said earlier, there's different circles of friends. Like you have the bigger circle, which were we said that last week at the beginning of last week. Casual friends, people that you don't have a choice. People that you work with, for example. People that you go to uni with. People that you don't actually choose them. You find yourself having to deal with these people. So obviously you don't have a choice. And then you have the people who are more closer, people that you choose, but they're still on a bigger circle. So on a bigger circle, there's many of them. And then we talk about the core friends. The one I'll focus on tonight was the core friends. The handful of people that are really, really close to you. And that's why all these qualities seem to be big qualities and difficult qualities to find, like Jonathan and David, is because this is the very close people we're talking about. So obviously, the importance of that is the people that you're close with, the people can have the most influence on you. So when you know people like that, who are not didn't tick the boxes that we talked about, so obviously you don't want these people to have much influence on you, and that's why you try to keep them on the outer circle as much as out as possible. Sometimes it's not in your control, like the people you work with, the family members. You have to meet with them on a regular basis, but at least you can keep the influence to a minimum. So you have to be careful for them not to influence you in a bad way. I'm sure they have good things. You take the good things from them and avoid the bad. And that's very important. If you're forced to sit down with some people, then try to get the best thing from them. Learn the good things from them and avoid the bad. But obviously, you're not going to go out of your way to spend more time with them. Okay, you don't go out of your way to spend more time with them because you don't want to have that influence. But the time that you have to spend with them, you have to be very careful to not to be influenced by the bad thing and take the good things from them. Be like the bee, okay? Be like the bee that goes from one flower to another, takes the good things and leaves the bad things. And the good things will turn into beautiful honey, okay? So be selective. Good question. Any other questions? We have time for maybe one more question. Any questions from last week, if you were here last week or this week, whatever it is. Okay. You're saving questions for next time? Next time will be a big one because this is actually the 8 blocks to building strong friendship, healthy, strong friendships. So the important point, and I want to go in detail, so we'll take up the whole week next time, God willing. And then we'll end up with any questions that you have as well for the whole topic. Okay. Thank you so much for your attention. We'll stand up to pray. In the name of the Father, and Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God, amen. We thank you, dear Lord, for the wise words about friendship. We thank you for your word in the scriptures to help us, Lord, how to choose our friends. Lord, it's a difficult job trying to know who we should associate with and who should we keep away from. And that's why we need wisdom. That's why we need the virtue of discernment to be able to differentiate between what is good for us and what's bad for us. Many things appear from the outside to be good, but they not according to your will. For us to know that, Lord, we need to come close to you. We need to hear your voice more clearly. And this can only be done through being closer to your word and really understanding your word and the message behind it for us. Lord, there's many choices in life and there's many decisions we need to make. How can we know? How can we make the right decision? Only with your support, only with your help, only with your guidance. And that's why you left us, Lord, all the beautiful teachings of the church and your word and all the advice of our spiritual fathers. We ask you, Lord, to seek their advice, not to rely on our minds and not to be wise in our own eyes, because we're going to fall. Once we realize we are wise in our own eyes, Lord, we're going to fall. Help us to be humble. Help us to seek advice and not to rely on our own limited thoughts. Help us to become closer to you, to become more wiser. We ask, Lord, to be with everyone going through a difficult time. Those, Lord, who are sick, heal them. Those in tribulations, comfort them. Ask you to give peace to the world and people away from you to come back to your church so they can hear the beautiful message you have for them, that you love them. We ask these prayers, intercessions for St. Mary and St. Mina, and so the blessings of these beautiful holy great fast that we're going through, Lord, help us to benefit from the remaining days in the fast and help us to benefit from the Passion Week and to be truly, Lord, be prepared so we can go through the journey of your sufferings, so we can go closer to you and go into a deeper relationship with you. So the prayers and intercessions of St. Mary and St. Mina and all the saints, hear us through the prayer thankfully. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us today our daily bread and give us our trespasses, as we give the trespass against us. Lead us into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Jesus Christ, our Lord, for thou the kingdom, power, glory forever. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. And I love God the Father, grace of His only begotten Son, our Lord God and Savior Jesus Christ, the gift, communion the Holy Spirit with you all. Go in peace, may the peace will be with you. Good to see you all, and a blessed Passion Week next week. As you know, there will be no Bible study, obviously Passion Week, and also there will be no Bible study the Wednesday after the Feast of Resurrection. So we're going to miss out on 2 Wednesdays. So we'll be back that week, second week after Resurrection. So I'll put it in the group anyway. If you're not in the WhatsApp group for the Bible study, please let me know. I can add you to groups so you can see all the communications to make sure you're up to date with all the communication. And please make an effort to enjoy and benefit from this Passion Week next week. We're going to be having services. The Pascha services, 3 services a day, from the morning 5 to 8 in the morning, and then from 8 to 11, and then the evening Pascha service from 6 to 9. Okay, there's I may even put the timetable in the group as well. We have like a sort of all the different times for the services from this Sunday, from actually this Friday. So I'll put that in the group as well. Thank you guys, and enjoy, and see you after the Feast of Resurrection. God with you.